Alright, so before we get to the review of this cabinet, I just want to ask you guys a question. Do you guys like RGB cabinets or do you like PC cases that are, completely stealth mode, no lighting? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you do like RGB, what's your favorite color and effect that you use on your PC? But with that being said, let's talk about this cabinet. Alright, so today in the studio, we've got this budget RGB cabinet from Gamdias. This is their Talos E2 Elite. This is a compact ATX mid-tower case, and this is for a niche group of people, in my opinion. People who want a small case that can still fit ATX motherboards, and it has got some cool features, and there are things that I like and probably dislike about this cabinet. So in this video, I'll be giving you guys my full review of the Talos E2 Elite cabinet from Gamdias, and telling you guys if you should be buying it or not, and if yes, who should be buying it. With that being said, let's get to the video. Alright, so starting off with the design and build quality. The design of the case is actually, nice. I kind of like it. It has tempered glass on two sides and the rest of the case is metal. Talking about the build quality, it's good, it's pretty decent, and I have seen, better build quality in cases around this price, but again, the metal used, the material used is pretty good, and there's no plastic or anything here apart from this, front part on top. That's plastic, but apart from that, everything else is metal and tempered glass, and the tempered glass is good. And one really nice feature I like about the Gamdias cases that they have introduced, the latest ones at least, they all have this magnetic swing door system, which is really nice, and it just prevents the tempered glass from breaking. This magnetic swing door allows you to get inside your PC really quickly, do some changes, maybe cleaning, you want to change the RAM or the graphics card or something like that. Pretty easy to do that, and magnetically closes. You can remove the tempered glass if you want to, but you don't really have to all the time. Another cool feature of this case is the on-the-go RGB light changing. So you can change the fans, you can change everything that's connected to the controller right from the front. Now, this case also supports 5V ARGB sync via your motherboard's ARGB connector, which is actually pretty good. And you can connect all the RGB fans and sync it up with your motherboard using whatever software you have. It could be ASUS AuraSync, MSI's Mystic Light, ASRock's Polychrome, and even Gigabyte's RGB Fusion. I'm using an MSI motherboard, so in my case, I would have to use MSI's Mystic Light software, but that's that. The case comes with a 120mm fan towards the back, which is non-RGB, and it comes with 3 RGB fans towards the front. These are also 120mm. And the cooler fans I have, attached separately. So in this build, I have also used Gamdias's power supply. This is their Kratos 750W power supply. This is also RGB. It has a RGB fan of its own, and you can sync that as well with the motherboard. So that's that. And I've also used their Kioni 240mm liquid cooler. So this is the Kioni M2 Gamdias. And yeah, this is also a really nice liquid cooler in the budget for you guys. So we'll talk about these products separately in future videos. But talking about the case itself, the fans are a little bit noisy, and they do make a little hum even on the lower speeds. That's one thing I don't like. The fans can be better. Maybe Gamdias can use better fans in the future. I mean, if you're doing audio sensitive work, or if you're a content creator or a live streamer, the fans will make a lot of noise, and that might not be, really suitable. But apart from that, if you're not doing something like that, if you're just gaming, it's not going to be annoying anyway. You're going to be wearing headphones or something like that. So yeah, but I would like to mention that the fans are kind of noisy and they do make some sound. So that's that. Airflow on the case is good. There is a grill towards the top, which is pulling out a lot of cold air, so that's that. And also towards the front, you have a cutout here, and on the opposite side, just so the air could go in. And there's also a rear exhaust. So the case is not a microwave. There is decent airflow. There's no mesh design, but I think there's enough airflow for a budget PC build. And I would suggest you guys use i3s, i5s, Ryzen 3s, Ryzen 5 CPUs with a case like this. It retails for around 4,500 rupees in the Indian market. So, those are the kind of CPUs, those are the kind of builds you'll be doing inside a case like this. Now, the case has a, ATX form factor, but it's tall enough. In my opinion, it's decently tall, but it's not very wide, so might not be able to support the biggest of GPUs. And if you want to know the numbers, I'll put them on the screen right now. This is the exact height of the cooler and the width of the GPU that it can support. So you can see that it can support up to 340 millimeters of a GPU, but I think that will be really stretching it. So if you have a really big GPU, probably the case is not for you. But if you're doing like a compact build with a normal size graphic card, I'm using the Sapphire 5600 XT. This is the Radeon 5600 XT from AMD. This is a decently large card and fits normally. If you're using a triple fan card that's really big, maybe the Supreme X or the Strix card from Asus, that'll be stretching it a little bit. But for normal, parts, this is totally fine. There's also the PSU cover design. So you have this PSU shroud, and there's also a cutout for the PSU to be shown. Let's say you have a RGB power supply from Gamdius. You can, show off that one, the branding and a little bit of the RGB in that cutout. So that's really nice. And in terms of the radiator and fan support, towards the front, you have a 360 millimeter radiator support, and you can also mount a 240 mm towards the top like I have done here, and towards the back you can put in a 120 millimeter fan or radiator. So that's really nice. And in terms of your drive bays and storage support, you can have a SSD, and actually two SSDs towards the front here right next to the motherboard, and even towards the back you have a hard drive bay where you can have two hard drives and one SSD. So there's enough space for your storage and stuff like that. And it's actually surprising for the size of the case, it can support a 360 millimeter radiator. So, good job Gamdius over there. And towards the front on the top for your IO and your ports, you've got USB 3, USB 2.0, you've got your power button and also the LED control switch and your headphone and microphone jack. So that's that. And towards the back, it's a pretty standard layout in my opinion. You've got your 7 PCIe slots, and you've also got your space for your IO shield. And this case actually supports vertical mounting, which is a really good feature on the budget. So if you're into vertically mounting your graphics card, you've got a triple slot vertical mount here, which is a really big plus point at this price. 4,500 rupees is the retail, and a triple slot graphics card can be mounted vertically. But again, as I said, if you have a really big graphics card, I wouldn't really do that. But if you're a compact builder and if you have compact parts, you can vertically mount it. And you can see the glow of the power supply from here. And there's also going to be a little bit of underglow because of the power supply's RGB, which is nice. And towards the back, there is space for cable management, but there's not a lot of cable clearance. So if you have a lot of cables from your RGB, planning to do custom sleeved cables for your build, you will have to put in some time in managing those. There's not a lot of cable management or cable clearance space towards the back, but I think it's enough for a normal build, where there's not a lot of cables. So if you're going to put extreme amounts of RGB, if you're going to put custom sleeved cables, then you might have to do a little bit of cable management. Overall, the case is nice. The build quality and the design is good, and the materials are decent. And for the price of 4,500 rupees, I kind of like it. But as I said, it is a small compact ATX mid-tower case. It's tall, but not that wide. If you're into this kind of a form factor, if you're into this kind of a design, you could definitely opt for it. But let's say you're doing streaming, video creation, YouTube, you're doing audio sensitive work, you might have to change the fans on this PC. But apart from that, basic things like airflow and everything is good. And keep in mind, you want to build in this case, use a Ryzen 3, Ryzen 5 CPU, i3, i5 CPU. If you're going to use a very high TDP build in this, you might have higher temperatures. But in my testing, I was using the Kioni M2 from Gambius, their 240 millimeter liquid cooler, and I'm using a relatively budget CPU. I'm using the i3 9100F here in MSI Z390 board. I know not the best combination, but this is just for testing purposes, and also 16 gigabytes of RAM. I am also using the 5600 XT from AMD, and in my testing, the temperatures are very good. On idle, I got 37 to 39. and under load, medium load, you will hit 45 degrees Celsius to maybe 50. And I also ran a Prime 95 stress test, and the max temperatures I saw was around 60 degrees Celsius even after running the test for like 10-15 minutes, and it doesn't go above that. So airflow wise, temperatures wise, if you're using this exact cooler with a Ryzen 3 or Ryzen 5 CPU, an i3 or i5 CPU, you should be getting pretty decent temperatures. Overall, the GAMDS Talos E2 Elite for a price of 4,500 rupees has got some unique features, has got a good design, and if you're into this kind of a RGB PC case, you can totally go ahead and buy it. I'll leave links down below, guys, for you to check the case out and also the latest pricing for it. And if you want to help the channel out, you can buy from those links. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If this video was helpful, go ahead and smash the like button, as well as subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads. But with that being said, my name has been Yusuf. You guys have been awesome. Stay awesome, keep smiling, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.